Standing before this painting, you might ask, what am I looking at? Hartley's work is the opposite of the careful studio paintings of Hudson River School artists like Thomas Cole or Fitzhenry Lane. Notice how the white cascading water dances with the surrounding blue without any mixing of color. Notice also how the simple change in the shape of a brush stroke can be used to imply falling water versus gently flowing water. Hartley's painting emphasizes the thick paint, lack of color mixing, and direct inspiration from nature championed by Impressionists like Monet. But Hartley goes beyond Impressionism. He believed that a painting should reveal internal emotions, so he used the expressive qualities of form and color. Hartley once wrote, "The pictures must reach inwards into the deeper experiences of the beholder. There is no story to them or literature, no morals. They are merely artistic expressions of mystical states." Hartley was a restless and passionate painter who created through improvisation and intuition, much like a jazz musician. Accordingly, Autumn Cascade can be viewed as a celebration of nature, a celebration of paint, and a celebration of the freedom to express ideas in any way chosen. Was Hartley successful in creating that sensation in you? Born Edmund Hartley in 1877 in Lewiston, Maine, Hartley was the youngest of 9 children. In 1892, he won a scholarship to the Cleveland Institute of Art. By age 22, he was studying at the New York School of Art and the National Academy of Design. Hartley admired the writings of Walt Whitman, Henry Thoreau, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, whose poetry and prose inspired him to think of art as a spiritual quest. During his lifetime, Hartley lived and worked in Paris, Germany, Mexico, and numerous places in the United States. His restless spirit drew inspiration from his environment, no matter where he was living. And this restlessness added to the complexities of his creations. Throughout his career, Hartley created such a wide variety of works, it is impossible for him to be pigeonholed. For example, the painting before you, Autumn Cascade, was produced when Hartley was in his neo-impressionist phase, under the influence of his friend Maurice Prendergast. Later, he would embrace elements of abstract art and German expressionism, and even American regionalism. He has been compared to such varied modernists as Georgia O'Keeffe, Vasily Kandinsky, Pablo Picasso, and Paul Cézanne, whose paintings can be found in this museum. Modernism describes a variety of artistic styles which arose in the late 19th century as artists began to reject realism and various cultural and artistic traditions and searched for art forms that they felt better reflected modern life and thinking. An important characteristic of modernism is a keen interest in how we see the world. For example, early modernists like the Impressionists and the Pointillists were aware that human beings don't see objects, they see reflected light. This freed them from simply copying nature and inspired them to focus on the process of perception itself. Later artistic movements like Cubism, Fauvism, and Expressionism shared this tendency to explore the mind's processes rather than to simply reproduce nature, especially since the new art of photography was superior in accomplishing that task. In addition, modernism was eagerly expressing new ideas of psychology, anthropology, sociology, and philosophy. Thinkers such as Nietzsche, Freud, and Jung were turning the world upside down. Painters in the modernist period often collaborated with sculptors, poets, composers, musicians, and dancers. Working in cultural centers like Paris and New York, they created a vibrant new culture at the dawn of the 20th century.